When you think about CM Punk's career, you may have in mind his famous pipe bomb in 2011, where he expressed all his frustration with the WWE. But he was also the leader of a group that was original and above all outrageous, a straight edge society. In this guru role, he was shining but also developed a lot of resentment towards the Stamford Federation. It is a pleasure to meet you on the Wrestling Paradise to present you the most significant moments of this controversial group. Are you ready to be shocked when you see the straight edge society shaving the skulls of some fans? Do you want to know how this clan was able to take the Royal Rumble match hostage? Would you like to discover the disturbing scene that CM Punk had with Rey Mysterio's family? And are you curious to learn how a rivalry with the Big Show created one of the funniest images in pro wrestling history? You have come to the right place because in our video we will see scenes together that you may not know with the cult of CM Punk, and they might surprise you. You are on the Wrestling Paradise, the most memorable moments of the Straight Edge Society. Here we go. In a SmackDown show in the fall of 2009, the foundation stone of the future Straight Edge Society will be laid. On that day, we notice CM Punk's appearance with his long hair and beard, which necessarily reminds us of religion. That was clearly his intention. He presents himself as a savior in front of all these spectators who are sick in his eyes, whom he must put back on the right path. He asks everyone to stand up and raise their arms to recognize their weakness, to openly say that addiction has taken hold of their minds. What is rather strange in this situation is that he wants fans to free themselves from the grip of alcohol, drugs, tobacco, medicines of all kinds, but that he is presented as a villain. The individual who wants to help others to be healthier and not to self-destroy, in a patronizing way for sure, is booed, which is quite amazing. In any case, in this little staging in the ring, he takes a carton of cigarettes and then criticizes the audience for ignoring the prevention messages on the package. He will do more or less the same thing with medicine and then a bottle of whiskey. Obviously, the people on site were more fans of this bottle than the kid from Chicago. The least we can say is that he was perfectly successful in making himself hated by the fans with his rants, which is the goal of any good villain in wrestling. He will pour the contents of the bottle into a trash can, just like the rest. The scene will end with the arrival of R-Truth, who will take over Punk, to the point of emptying the trash on him. A few days later, still in the fall of 2009, there was a first novelty in the story of the Straight Edge Society. CM Punk arrived in the arena accompanied by a kind of bodyguard. This is a fairly strong individual who will probably become a henchman. But there is a particularly interesting element around this wrestler. It's not just anyone. A few years before, he was Festus, an idiot character who went crazy every time he heard the ring bell.
That's what happens to the court.
It's clear that he was a sick brain, but from now on he's Luke Gallows. CM Punk did with him what he wishes to do to all the people who listen to him. He reached out to him to save him from his illness. Personally, I think it was relevant to use the one who was Festus in the past. It was excellent to justify his mental disability by consuming too many substances of all kinds. We didn't suspect it at the time, but Festus was not a fool, but a person trapped in addictions. Thanks to CM Punk, he was able to overcome his demons. The Chicago Kid now has a mission. He wants to do the same for the fans, to reach out to them and save them from their weakness. For the record, this new association starts from the fact that Punk had been told that he needed someone strong by his side, that he was not physically credible enough against an opponent like The Undertaker, for example. He then told himself that he was going to choose one of his best friends. January 8, 2010 will symbolize a new milestone in this straight-edge prophet character from CM Punk. Tonight is the night. He's going to save someone from the crowd. At that moment, we may wonder how he will do it. We don't know if they will be real fans or accomplices, or what he exactly plans to do to help them. It won't be long before we find out. He chooses a fan from the crowd and brings him into the ring. After reassuring him by telling him not to be afraid and talking about everything that is wrong with this individual, he makes him kneel down. Now this lost sheep must accept him as savior and let go of his former life for good. While he had replied to CM Punk that he was just going to try, it wasn't enough for the Chicago Kid. He raises his tone before calming down and will eventually tell her that deeds are worth much more than words. To prove his membership in the Straight Edge Society and demonstrate that he was sincere in this new commitment, he had to have his skull shaved. This action was very original. Without the shadow of a doubt, it symbolizes this new human being that this character now Straight Edge is becoming. He lets go of the one he was before. It was a pretty amazing image to see a wrestler shave the skull of someone who is apparently just a simple fan. With his hand on his head, he has just saved a new person. The scene will end with a celebration of this change and by CM Punk, who will say,
"He, like myself, is better than all of you."
This scene was a milestone in this straight-edge society story. We were already imagining a group made up of bald people to surround a CM Punk who clearly wanted to look like Jesus. Afterwards, when it looked like we were going to have another scene where a fan would be chosen to be converted, things will turn out differently. While CM Punk is in the middle of a rant to convince the spectators to join him, we see a woman running up to him. In the aftermath, she will be evacuated by security. It was very interesting because we didn't know if she was a fake or a real fan who therefore sincerely wanted to be part of the straight edge society. In any case, there is going to be a very interesting twist. While the young woman is being taken away by security while shouting that she needs CM Punk, the latter takes pity on her. He asks for her to be released. When she is in the ring, we will learn that her name is Serena and that she is an addict who needs help. He tells her that he does not only want these people to stop smoking or drinking, but that they truly become his disciples, that they pledge allegiance to his sect. He will make her sit down and make her repeat that she accepts the straight-edge lifestyle in her existence, that the Chicago Kid is her savior. Despite the fact that she is a woman, she will also have her skull shaved, which made this scene even more memorable. A few days later, the guru of the straight edge society will participate in the Royal Rumble. In this event, 30 wrestlers compete for a ticket for WrestleMania. In terms of entertainment and originality, his performance there was incredible in my eyes. He entered there at number 3, which is quite early in the match, to then eliminate several wrestlers, which enabled him to have moments when he was alone in the ring. He took advantage of these breaks in the middle of the fight to preach for his sect. It was mind-blowing to see a superstar speak on the microphone in the middle of a match, moreover this one. We can also praise CM Punk's ability to remain eloquent and coherent in his speeches while wrestling at the same time, which remains an intense and tiring activity. We could see him on his knees, almost like in a parallel world, talking about all his beliefs. It was extremely entertaining for this start of the Royal Rumble, which usually takes several minutes before becoming interesting.
Who's next?
At WrestleMania 26, the most important moment of the wrestling year, CM Punk and his straight edge society were going to have a new target, Rey Mysterio. In this road to the showcase of the Immortals, we will see him do big speeches to the crowd in which he said he was ready to attack all the people who would come to face him in his mission. He claims to be able to save all those lost people that are WWE fans. The most memorable scene of this rivalry against the Luchador will take place on SmackDown on March 12, 2010. We saw Rey Mysterio with his children, including Dominic, who was still far from hating his father, and with his wife. They were celebrating Aaliyah's birthday, his daughter, before being interrupted by CM Punk and his new family. The prophet of the straight edge society will sing happy birthday to Aaliyah, who isn't really reassured. He challenges Mysterio to a match at WrestleMania and promises to make the Mexican and his family suffer. He will slap Rey Mysterio, who will leave with his family. In this scene, CM Punk had managed to create a disturbing atmosphere. He mastered his psychological games with Rey and his loved ones, and looked like a real vicious villain.
Happy birthday!
After matches at WrestleMania, and then at Extreme Rules, Rey Mysterio will challenge the Guru for a last match at Over the Limit, where the stakes will be high. If the Mexican loses, he will be part of the straight edge society. But if Punk loses, he can say goodbye to his hair. On the road to Over the Limit, a new allegiance scene to the straight edge society will be set up with 3 new members. We will also note an interesting little detail there. The kid from Chicago holds the microphone with his hands in a prayer position, which obviously goes with his appearance in the very religious aspect of this clan. We will witness a triple skull shaving, which seems to represent a fresh start for them. Despite this very strong act in this sequence, there will be no confirmation at Over the Limit. Rey Mysterio will have the last word in this rivalry, while he did not necessarily need it given how he was already a very popular legend. However, he had the advantages of selling masks to fans and being adored by children, who were a major target for a more family-friendly WWE in 2010. CM Punk will not escape his sanction since he will have his skull shaved, which still made him lose part of his charisma. After this humiliating loss against Rey Mysterio, CM Punk will no longer dare to show his head. He will put on a towel, then a luchador mask of the group, which was an original way to conclude this rivalry. In what represents the decline of the sect, which was going through an internal crisis, the Chicago Kid will have a quite random rivalry against the Big Show. The Giant will succeed in removing Punk's mask to reveal his shaved head to the world.
Punk has been
It was humiliating for Punk, but at least it was one of the funniest images in WWE history. In the month of July 2010, we will see Punk talk to his 3 followers, Gallows, Mercury, and Serena. He will make them responsible for all his misfortunes while, however, they owe him everything. Despite a scene where they will succeed in destroying the Big Show, he will once again accuse his followers of being weak and will give them an ultimatum. The next one who does something stupid will be banned from the sect. In the end, all this rather weak storyline will lead to a clash at SummerSlam in 2010 where the Big Show will face the 3 men of the cult. While they could have rebuilt themselves by defeating the Giant, the Guru will leave them in the hands of the Colossus, who will not hesitate to beat them. This will later be justified by CM Punk's desire to teach a lesson to his disciples. Serena was always defending her master in a group that was less and less united. Everything will end on August 27, 2010. That night, when CM Punk had beaten JTG and he was talking to his slaves, who were like his dogs, Serena would be fired by the company a few hours later. The week after that, Luke Gallows was destroyed by the Big Show in a 2-on-1 match with Punk against the Giant, which will be too much for the Guru. The kid from Chicago will do his GTS to Gallows, which symbolizes the cult's end. After another loss against the Big Show at Night of Champions, CM Punk will definitively move away from this prophet role of the straight edge society. And that was it for these most memorable moments of the straight edge society in the WWE. Seeing the course of this clan and the original scenes they had, we can regret it did not have more success in the Federation. We had never seen a faction that went so far in the sect idea. They wanted to convert others, to the point of even doing what looked like sacrifices with ordinary people. Without the shadow of a doubt, they could have been one of the most dominant forces of the company around 2010, which would have been good for the show that needed new stars. This makes me offer you a debate. In your opinion, should CM Punk have been heavyweight champion in this role in 2010? We invite you to come and give your opinion. It will be interesting to talk about it together in the comments and to share our ideas. We can say that CM Punk's career is really interesting. I hope you had a good time watching this video, and I invite you to stay on the Paradise of Wrestling to look at some other ones. See you right away.
And that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so. What?